Hey folks, David Stewart here. So, recently I got a copyright claim on one of my videos, and I wanted to explain how that happened and why that happened, because it's actually a pretty rare event on my channel, and I can explain why it's fairly rare for me. But I also thought I'd take the opportunity to talk a little bit about how the copyright system works on YouTube and how to avoid the morass of copyright claims if you are looking to make content on YouTube. And of course, if you're not looking to make content on YouTube, this is just some more information as to how fair use ends up getting kind of hashed out in the YouTube system. So let me tell you what happened. I made a video in late 2018 on the Grinch movie that came out that year, which was by Illumination, the same company that does the Minion movies. And it was a very negative review. I think I called it a heartless or soulless and boring cash grab, which I stand by that review, having listened to a little bit of it when I re-uploaded the video. Now, what's interesting about this video is that it did not receive a copyright claim the way that most videos receive a claim. And I'll explain the difference between a claim and a strike in a minute. For now, you know that a claim and a strike can happen through two different ways. And one way is through the software. So what happens is that you upload a video, and there's some software that runs in the background that basically compares the video to a whole plethora of other pieces of content. There's a couple ways that I think it works, but what it really tends to capture is video and audio. So moving pictures and then audio. And audio is even better because you can take a couple of very short samples of audio and line those up with other pieces of copyrighted work and figure out what matches. There's a phone app that people used to use, I don't remember what it's called, where you could hold it up to the radio and it tell you what the song is. It basically uses the same sort of system. So if your video uses audio or video, it's very quick and easy for this software to be able to find a match. Then the copyright owner, or whoever is registered as the copyright owner with YouTube, can then make a claim on that particular piece of content, and or they can make a strike. There's a little interface that you can use through YouTube that will do that. When they make a claim, a couple things can happen. So the first thing that can happen is they can demonetize the video. So that just means that you can't run ads on it. The second thing that can happen is that they can claim the monetization, which means the ads that are running on it will generate revenue for the person who filed the claim. The third thing that can happen is they can block the video either regionally or worldwide. Regions have to do with who is in charge of, maybe Europe or North America or, the Oceania area, whatever it's going to be. So this is what happened to my video, is it got blocked worldwide. Now, the thing is, it didn't happen through this system. This system works very quickly. So if you've ever uploaded a video that, quotes, contains copyrighted content, this will get claimed really, really quickly. I know from experience, and I've tested this out with various videos, some of which you can still see on the channel and some of which you can't because they've been blocked worldwide, and I've had to kind of alter what I'm doing. But this tends to happen pretty quickly. Now, this claim happened really more than 2 months after I made this review on the Grinch movie. And it happened via the manual method. So you can claim something automatically or you can do it manually. In order to do it manually, what happened is somebody from Universal, which owns Illumination, came and watched my video and then filed a manual claim on it. They went in and entered in the link and said that they own the content that I was putting up. They own the copyrighted content. That's a manual claim. Manual claims are special in that sense because rather than a piece of software automating this entire claim process and it having to kind of run through people to eventually get hashed out, this is a person actively doing it. Now, did the video contain copyrighted content? Well, it contained visual content in the form of screenshots. Most of these were public screenshots that the company put out. So the company published these screenshots, and I just put them on the video so that there was some visual representation in the movie while I did a voiceover, because I didn't have my camera set up. I had just moved into a new house, and I didn't have the new thing set up. So that's what ended up happening. Now, that's what they claim. Now, they released the claim after I contested it and after I blasted them on Twitter for doing it. And I don't know if blasting them on Twitter had any effect, but the claim was worded, I tend to word the responses to claims in a way that matches every single piece of information for fair use. Fair use is a doctrine, so you guys know. It's not really something that the legislature has specifically hashed out, but it's something that's been hashed out more or less through the workings of law. There's a basic framework for copyright, and fair use is how you determine when something is transformative or operates in a way that doesn't violate intellectual property laws. So it's really a legal doctrine and not something that legislature has created, but you can find it in common law registers and things like that. But fair use is going to be that it's transformative. There's a whole bunch of things, and I could do another video on fair use, though I'm not an attorney, so none of this counts as legal advice. And even if I was an attorney, none of it counts as legal advice. If you need legal advice over a copyright issue, then you should contact an attorney that deals with copyright and trademark law and things like that. But anyway, this video definitely, in my view, meets fair use. It contained no video or audio of the source in question, so no video clips, which are very typical for a lot of reviews. So a lot of people ask, like, hey Stu, how come you never include clips in your reviews? Wouldn't that enhance what you're talking about in your analysis? It's like, oh, it definitely would. The problem is that this automatic system that I mentioned will basically tag the video as belonging to a different person, and then I won't be able to monetize it. Monetization is a big deal, partly because I'm making a piece of original content and somebody else is literally stealing the money from it by claiming the ads. And the other problem is that if they file a claim, people are like, well, why don't you just contest the claim? In this case, the claim was released really quick in this last video. However, they have 30 days to respond. So what has happened in the past, like I made a video analyzing some score elements from, just talk about score stuff from Star Wars. And it's been claimed by at least 5 different companies since that video's been up. And each time it's claimed, they claim the monetization of it, which means I lose all the revenue from that video for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, the claim's automatically released because they don't contest it or they then release it. The thing is, and I don't know if they've changed this recently, but the way it always had been is that you basically can't get the money back because they didn't really track it that way. So essentially, I would have this video being constantly claimed by these different companies, and you have to file an appeal. They wait 30 days. Now, if they had blocked the video worldwide, which I've had that happen, right? So I did a video comparing 2 different sets of special effects, and what I ended up having to do was just link some different videos, because if I included the actual video and voiced over it and talked about different things and paused to talk about different elements of the special effects, the video is blocked worldwide through the claim system. That would mean that for me to even have that video go up, I'd have to go through the entire appeal process, wait 30 days, maybe have it released, maybe have another company claim it. And because of regional differences, I could get the claim released by Universal and then have like Universal Asia claim it, or have whoever is the distributor in Europe claim it, and all these different things. And so it becomes a big hassle. That has incentivized me, and it incentivizes a lot of other creators to avoid the use of anything which is copyrighted, which is remotely remotely related to copyright. Meaning, even though it's completely fair use to include clips when I'm doing analysis and I'm doing review, that is completely fair use. Mainstream review shows do that, of course. I won't do it because it'll just get claimed. So in that sense, if you're operating in the YouTube space, you don't really have the option of getting fair use right out of the gate. The fair use only happens after you contest the claims on whatever content. So to avoid that, I just avoid using clips entirely. I also avoid using audio. Audio is a big one. So if there's music playing, if you record a video, even if you're out and about and you record a video like in the waiting area of Applebee's and there's music playing, your video can get a claim because they will hear that sample of audio, and it's very easy to compare it to a song, and then you're going to lose your revenue or get your video blocked or anything like that. So I just avoid that. This one was really rare because what they did is they watched the review, saw that it was negative, and chose to file a claim hoping that I didn't realize that that I could show public screenshots of things and that was transformative and actually counted as fair use. Just hoping that I wouldn't contest it, because I guess they got me. I had the copyrighted content of the screenshots. But of course, they could do it even if there was no content whatsoever in it. If it was just me talking in the camera about Grinch and they filed a copyright claim, I could lose 30 days of revenue or 30 days of having that video up. What I ended up doing was, while it was blocked, I re-uploaded the video with none of their screenshots so that there wouldn't be any possibility of them being able to claim it again. And because it was a manual claim, I know that they had to watch the video and decide to claim it. And chances are, if it had been a positive review, I don't believe they would have done a copyright claim. I think because it was a negative review, they took the opportunity to do it. And it's an optionality thing, right? There's a very, very small downside for them to do it, and there's a massive upside, which is they remove a negative review that can hurt their movie. Even though it only had like 5,000 views or something on it like that, a pretty small number of views, even for one of my videos. Even though it was a fairly small number of views, that's still like 5,000 people who got the message that this movie was garbage, right? So it's a big potential upside when you look at it like that. So that's a lot of why I think they do it, and that's why I tend to avoid those things, and that's why this idea was special. Now, before I move on, let me explain the difference between a claim and a strike, because the strike, a lot of times people conflate these terms when they're talking about them, but in the YouTube space, a claim is basically saying that we're going to claim that you have copyrighted content that is not fair use, and then we get to decide if we want to, revenue share with you, if we want to just take the money, what we want to do. And a strike is where you only used to get 3 strikes on your channel. Now I think with community guidelines, it's like 2 strikes, but there's copyright strikes and community guideline strikes. If you get a strike, it's like you are, this company is ready to file paperwork against you for the copyright violation. And that's what has to happen. So if they file a strike, and you follow it up, eventually that's, trying to head towards a lawsuit. is what that's supposed to be. Now, in the past, people have abused this strike system to try to silence opposition. Either people that are using their videos in response fashion, like have their video up and then are responding to it, they strike it. And when that strike hits your channel, you can't live stream. You may lose access to monetization. It has a bunch of negative effects. So doing it maliciously is a very bad thing. Which is why most companies, if they're going to do a copyright thing, it's almost never a strike. It's always a claim, because the claim has the big upside with virtually no downside. Whereas a strike, you're going to a different level with it. So copyright strikes, when you hear about people getting copyright strikes, that is actually a much bigger deal than a copyright claim, and should be thought of as such. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, that's not really fair, right? Like, fair use should be fair use. It should be allowed in YouTube. I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little bit, and just look at this from YouTube's perspective, again with optionality in mind. Yes, you want fair use content on the platform because that's content people want to watch. That's content you can monetize and make money on. It's content that enriches the platform and keeps more users on the platform to make money. However, if you're going to look at it from a trying to avoid downside perspective, trying to avoid the negatives, individual users that are punished through the claim or the strike system are almost never going to sue YouTube. And there's several reasons why I don't think they would sue, but the main one is they're individuals. Their losses on a given video are usually quite small, not significant enough for them to want to hire an attorney and put up all that cost to try to litigate some sort of claim. Whereas if Universal, let's say, wanted to file a lawsuit against YouTube for copyright violation, they could definitely litigate it. Universal definitely has the money for long-term litigation of copyright issues. And YouTube wouldn't want to pay for a whole bunch of litigation, possibly years worth of litigation, in order to figure out whether or not they're responsible for copyright violations, because this actually hasn't really been worked out in the courts as far as I know. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I kind of keep up on this news, and this hasn't really been worked out as far as whether YouTube is in the clear with this kind of stuff. Because they are not a publisher, right? They're a platform. People are supposed to be able to publish things on it. It's supposed to be the responsibility of the person who publishes it. You own the copyright of your content. YouTube does not own it. That's very explicitly said in the terms of service. And that's so that they aren't liable for, the flip side of that is they are not liable for the stuff that you put up. That's not supposed to work. But kind of similar to like lawsuits with, I'm trying to remember the one like, I don't know if it was FileZilla or Mega Upload or something, one of those. Or maybe it was like LimeWire. There was a major... LimeWire actually got sued for like more money than exists. But there was a major lawsuit that fell out from that because they were providing the ability to pirate software and all that kinds of stuff. So if YouTube is providing the ability to pirate it, there's a potential legal liability there, and a very expensive one, not just in terms of litigation, but also damages. So it's very much in YouTube's interest to placate the people who have the deep enough purses to sue them, and sue them for big time, which is going to be the copyright holders. Not the little copyright holders like me, because I own copyright stuff, and I've even had my own things be copyright claimed by like my music distributor and things like that, which is a pain. But it's not for people like me, it's for people like Universal, to kind of placate them so that they won't sue, so that they feel okay with how YouTube is doing business and how they're handling copyright and making sure that people are able to review movies, but at the same time, people are not able to publish Universal's movies or Disney's movies or anything like that for free on YouTube. That's what they really want to avoid. So for YouTube, it's a big potential downside to just kind of let people go at it, and it's a very small potential upside. Whereas having a claim system which punishes the user more, the end content creator user, it's a lot more upside for them with a lot less downside. So that's why I think they do it. And a lot of people don't think of it from that perspective, but you really, I don't know. It's definitely true when you come and you stop and you think about it. It has to do with who's going to sue. You're going to protect yourself against the lawsuits. And the other thing is too, let's say that Universal actually sued YouTube, and it went all the way through the courts, and there was a decision made in court about YouTube's responsibility with copyrighted content. That could actually destroy YouTube, right? Not just the damages, but the precedent that falls out from that could be really big. Or it could be really bad for Universal. It could be bad for either party. Neither party would actually want to go through all the trouble of litigating something like this, especially something that doesn't have a lot of precedent that I'm aware of set for how big platform is supposed to interact with copyrighted content. If they were to go through and it was a big enough case, then it would probably be precedent setting in my view, and that could be big potential downside for both parties. Whereas if they just kind of work this out, then they don't have to risk that downside. So when people are like, why isn't anyone suing YouTube? It's like, well, there's not enough reason to sue YouTube, nor are they really liable for providing a system that other people abuse. It's the other people who abuse it who really are the actors at play. And YouTube's responsibility in it would be pretty low, even, especially with like a negligence standard or something like that. I don't think you'd be able to hammer YouTube for allowing people to copyright claim content. You might be able to, but it'd be pretty hard and expensive, and I don't think it would work out pretty well. So I think YouTube's mostly, CYA covering your ass. They're covering their own ass for bigger lawsuits. That's what I think about a lot of that stuff. I know fair use, it comes up every year or two in a big way. Every time YouTube makes a tweak to how they do copyright claims, like I can go look at content that contains elements of my content. There's a little tool for that. Nobody really copies my content though, because I'm not making Hollywood movies. I'm just talking into a camera most times, or just doing like guitar lessons or something like that. So it works out for me. I don't have to worry too much about it. So anyway, that's a whole lot of information. I know that's a big info dump. That's like 20 minutes worth of information on how the copyright system works here in YouTube. But it's interesting to know how that works if you want to be a content creator. The basic guidelines that I would put in place for avoiding copyright issues, which is to, if you really want to avoid them, you never have any kinds of video or audio that is taken from a source that is not you, because you're going to end up in a claim or a strike situation. The other one would be you can use screenshots instead of audio and video, and most of the time that works. That's why when I'm doing like Star Wars reviews, I show screenshots of stuff to talk about aesthetics and things like that rather than using video, because the software doesn't pick up on the screenshots very well. So they just kind of go through. And the case with this movie is somebody had to manually do it. They had to go and click on the video and watch it and decide that they were going to put a copyright claim on the video. So in that case, screenshots, still pictures tend to work better than using video or audio. Audio especially tends to very, very quickly get identified, and they tend to hammer it pretty hard. So that's the main thing that you can do to avoid any kinds of issues. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time, and next upload is going to be a little bit of a movie review, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. I'll talk to you guys later.